Hi friends, welcome. Today I'm assuming this is going to be a fairly hour-long video where we are going to fill up the S160 and going to show you how you proceed with filling up this hell of a document. Now, it's important to note that I will be filling it up on the perspective of a student, but if you are, say, a tourist or I don't know for any other reason that you have to fill up this 160, you can follow this as well. Not all my answers will be exact in that regard, but especially if you're a student, this video is going to help you. If not, it's going to help you as well. So before we go, this is my US F1 video overview video. Just go forward, maybe hit a like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. So at the same time, before you even start this, the most important document that you will need is known as the I-20, and it looks something like this. This is obviously not going to be exact. Yours will look a bit different, but for the vast majority of you, it's going to be fairly. The vast majority of the things will look fairly the same. In fact, I download this literally from the U.S. government's website. So you'll see sample, student sample, random names. So yeah. So how do we start? We literally go to Google, search. Okay, let's go to Google first, google.com, and we search DS160 application. Right? Just do that. We go to the first link, first link that shows up. It's going to look something like this. Just go, and yeah, this is it. This is the homepage. Apply for a non-immigrant visa. This DS160 is the document that's going to be referred to by the visa officers, and it's the formal way of them getting to know some stuff about you. You'll see what they want to know. So select the location where you will be applying for this visa. It depends on your locality where you are going to apply for the visa. I'm from Bangladesh, so I will just say Bangladesh, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Right? It refreshed. I don't know why it refreshes every time I select that, but it does. Anyway, just entered the code. It's SC. I think it's 5 and then S. If not, I'm so sorry, guys. But yeah, and then I click start an application. We don't have to see this test for the standard guide. We'll see it later. It's going to become relevant later. This retrieve an application is important. If you have already started an application and then you want to retrieve that. So yeah, it's complicated. We'll come back to that. But for now, just start an application. So at first, it's going to say a few stuff, computer fraud or whatever. If you're feeling fancy, read the whole of it and then click on I agree. Done. It's simple. Just read this as the whole part as well if you're feeling fancy. And then it's going to ask you a few security questions. This is essentially their way of recovering your application if it's ever get lost. So we tend to just don't tend to bother with security questions at all. At least I don't think it's a thing anymore. I don't know why they use it. Maybe it's the most efficient way for them to use it. I don't think any companies use security questions anymore. Facebook used to use it a long time back when I opened my first one in maybe 2010. But because you tend to forget answers, but it is what it is. You have to choose one. So there's a bunch of questions. Let's see which actually is relevant to me and actually makes sense. In what city did you meet your spouse/significant other? I never met, so I'll say Antarctica or Mars. I don't know. That's nice. And then we click on continue. Remember this answer because if you have to recover your application, it may become relevant. So yeah, so you'll see there's a bunch of sections right around here. It's intimidating, but I am going to guide you A to Z right now, hopefully. So surname. Surname is your last name. It's the name given to you. So anyway, so before we fill up, a brief overview of how it's gonna be like. So every time there's a question, if it's a bit confusing, if DS160 and the authority thinks that it's a bit confusing, what they will do is they will give you hints and helps right around here. So for example, in case of surname, it's written, enter all surnames as listed in your passport. If only one name is listed in your passport, enter the surname. So it gives you hints and some idea. So the most important hint that it gives me is that I should follow the passport, which is self-explanatory because you are applying for a visa and your passport is important. But do note that every information that you give should be accurate as seen in your passport. Now I won't be showing my passport. We can probably go to a random passport of Bangladesh. I don't know. Let's see. Let's go to images. Passport. Okay. All right. So I don't know who he is. The names are hidden. Anyway, here's the surname. Anyway, never mind. But here's the surname, and then you'll follow it. Follow the passport. My surname is Rahman, so I'll write Rahman. My given name is Samin. Just write it according to your passport. That's it. You don't have to worry too much about it. If it's different in, I don't know, your certificates, your government ID, relax. Your passport is the one you should follow here. Everything else is secondary and it doesn't matter right now. Full name in native alphabet. So in for this I have Ovro through which I can write my name in native Bengali. So I will write Samin Rahman. Okay, this is not right. Rahman. Yes, now this is right. So I wrote this in Bangladesh's native language. If the technology does not exist through which you can write through tech online means, then you'll probably click on this. Does not apply, technology not available. But it's available for me, so I'll write Samin Rahman. Done. As cool, as easy as that. Have you used any other names? Probably not. So if it's yes, then just click yes, and then I think it's going to ask you questions, other surnames, yes, other given names you used. If it's a nickname or then I don't think you should fill this. It's more official, more for official purposes. So if it's a nickname or some name that wasn't ever official, you probably don't need to say yes. A general rule of thumb is to always stray away from any complicated things. So if you just want to include your nickname because you think, oh wait, that's another name of mine as well, then I don't know, you are straying away from a bit of official stuff that can be verified and all, and you are making a bit more complicated. Just keep it as simple as possible, and obviously, don't lie. Keep it as accurate as possible. Anyway, do you have a telecode that represents your name? I honestly don't know what telecode is, and when I filled it up, I didn't know what telecode is as well. So I looked at the help. Telecodes are 4-digit code numbers that represent characters in some non-Roman alphabet names. I don't think this is valid for me. I have never heard of it, and so I googled it as well when I filled it up, and everyone says it no. So for me, it's no. I am fairly sure it's going to be no for you as well. So it's no. My gender, it's male, so I click on male. My marital status, it depends on you. If you're a student, the vast majority of you is going to be single. If you give say married or single or widowed, depending on your answers, there will be pop-ups questions that's going to pop up in this family section, such as if you have any child, who's your spouse is, who did you divorce, their description, their details, blah blah blah. So yeah, be aware of that. Since I gave single, I won't have those questions popped up for me. My date and place of birth, date is 2022, my bad. Month is 03, or should I give, March, and 2001. Oh, cool, right? City is Dhaka, I think. I don't have state/province. Nope, Bangladesh does not have any state/province. You can indicate Dhaka as a district, but for now I'll just click on does not apply. If you're from India, this may be valid for you as well. If you're from Canada, province applies for you. Just use your best judgment to answer this question. Does not apply even if, so for Dhaka, even if you give Dhaka here, it's not a problem. Anyway, country, region for me, it's Bangladesh. So yeah, and then we are done with the first section. I don't know how long it took. Country of origin/nationality, it's Bangladesh for me. I live here, I'm a citizen of here. Yeah. Any nationality other than the one, it's no. If you say yes, which may be for you, then you're going to have to answer a bunch of questions here. Just answer it to the best of your abilities. For me, it's no. The same is here. You may be a U.S. citizen, permanent resident, or some other countries. If you say yes, it's going to ask you a few questions. For me, it's no. For vast majority of you, it's no. So it's gonna be no. Now, national identification number. It's basically the identification number of your government ID. For Bangladesh, it's known as NID. For America, it's usually SSN. So if you have that, then input it here. When I applied for the DS 160, I did not have a national identification number. Right now I currently have, but I'm not going to input it, so does not apply. And say for US social security number, I don't have it right now with me at this moment, does not apply. Same with US taxpayer ID number. If you have any of this, just go forward and input them here. It's there, very self-explanatory. Right, let's move forward. Purpose of trip to US, and this is important. So there are a bunch of different options because they have divided different criterias, different categories into different letters. For students, if you're a student, you may either have J if you're an exchange visitor, if you're in the US for a year or for a semester or so. If you are full-time student who's studying, who's gonna study say 4 years in university, maybe you wanna finish PhD for 6 years, it's going to be F. It's known as F1. If you want to specify, it's going to be F1 if you're a student. If you want to fill up for your spouse, it's going to be F2. If you're going to fill up for your child, it's going to be F2 as well. For now, I'm going to select F1. But do know there's going to be a bunch of different options, and depending on what you answer, you're going to have different sections that pop up. For example, if you see where's the crew visa? Anyway, there's a crew visa somewhere around here. If you select that, there are a bunch of different questions and pop-up questions that you have to answer. Anyway, have you made any specific travel plans? I haven't yet. If you did, which you probably wouldn't, then provide a complete itinerary of when the flight is, departure flight, stuff like that. If not, just give no, right? It's going to be more likely the case. And then give an intended date of arrival. Do know that it doesn't have to be accurate. It's just an estimation. It literally says it here. If you're unsure of your travel plans, please provide an estimate. It's more likely that you don't have an idea, but you have a range. For example, say your classes start on August 23, and you're like, I'll probably go to the US on August 15th. So just put, I don't know, intended date of arrival as 14 here. 14 August 2021. Yeah, it's just an estimation, and for the overall big picture, it doesn't really matter too much. Intended length of stay in the US, it depends. If your education is for 4 years, give 4 years. If you're doing PhD, maybe you are assuming that you will finish it in 6 years, give 6 years here. So for now, I'll give 4 years. Do note that you are going there to study, and you probably would want to only give the length of time you're going to study there. In any case, it doesn't really matter that much, because in the I-20, it's going to be mentioned when your classes will start, program start, and end date, and that's the more important section. But anyway, so just follow this section right here and then give it here. You're cool. Address of where you will stay in the US. For the vast majority of you, if you're a student, it's going to be the university campus housing of that university. So how do you know this? How do you know their address? Just email them, or if you can, literally Google UTD. So there's a housing known as Canyon Creek right around here. So I just searched UTD Canyon Creek address, right? So let's see, and it shows up to me. Maybe you will Google, maybe you will email them, maybe you already know. It's fine, just input them here. So I'm going to input something random, 7,000 Illinois, right? Illinois street, I don't know. So if you're writing address, it should be at least encompass this one line. The second line is absolutely optional. Many people fret about it. It doesn't matter if you include this or not. However you write it, that's fine, as long as it's legible. If you're living off campus, then you may input that here as well. It depends on to you and what makes most sense to you, what applies more for you. If you are not a student, if you're say going for if you're a tourist, then input maybe a hotel name here, address of a hotel where you're more likely to stay. It doesn't have to be exact. If you input that hotel's name here and you get the visa, it's not like you must go there. That's fine, but it's just an estimation that it's best to have. City, yeah, Texas, my favorite Texas. Sorry, it should be Richardson. State should be Texas. My bad, boys. But yeah, Zip code, if known, it's more likely that you will know the zip code, Google and all. For me, let's assume it's 75252. Person, entity paying for your trip. If it's you, if it's your savings, just click on self. If it's not, maybe some other person, maybe it's your employer in the US. Most likely it's going to be other person, as in your relatives or your parents. So let's say it's other person. Now it's going to ask you their information. So I am going to say that it's going to be my parents, and my parents, Akhtar, Shelina, all cool. Input their phone number. I'm going to input something random. Done. Email address, if they have an email address, input it here. For now, I'll just give does not apply. Relationship to you, she's my mother. There are a bunch of other options. If you give other, I'm fairly sure it's going to. Oh, okay, it doesn't pop up anything. Anyway, it's fine. So, parent. It's true for me. If it's no, I think it's going to ask you the mailing address as address of that particular person. My mother lives in the same house as me when I'm at least in Bangladesh. So yeah, it's going to be yes. If it's no, if it's different, then just give the answer. For most of you anyway, it's going to be parents. So yeah. Are there any other persons traveling with you? This is important. And just read this. You should answer yes to this question if you're traveling with family as part of an organized tour or as part of a performing group or an athletic team. So let's pause this for a moment. Say you're a part of a debate team or an athletic team or going for a competition there, maybe a hackathon, and you are part of a whole team, maybe a contingent, a BD contingent. Then the answer is going to be yes. Or maybe you're going with family together, then the answer is going to be yes. However, the second part is important. You do not need to list individuals who are traveling with you for the purposes of employment with the same employer. Self-explanatory. However, it's also important to note that if you are, say, traveling with friends, maybe you're going to the same university, it doesn't have to be yes here as well. You are not going with an organized contingent there right away. So it's going to be no if my friends are going with. So I came to the UTD, came to US with two of my friends who are currently my roommates in that room, sitting, I don't know, doing TikTok, watching TikTok or whatever, because I'm making videos here. They don't want to disturb me. They're nice. So, for me, it was still no, because I'm not here with an organized tour. So it's going to be no, no other person is traveling with me. So yeah, if you say yes, it's going to ask you a few questions. So yeah, have you ever been to the US? For me, it was yes. Came to the US thrice when I was 6 months old, when I was 4 and 5 respectively. I don't remember much. So and then I had to provide some answers when I arrived. I arrived thrice, so I had to add another, and then length of stay. I calculated length of stay. One was, I think, 26 days, and then I inputted them accordingly. I did not hold a driver's license. If I say yes, I think it's going to ask me to give me the ID. Yes. So yeah. Anyway, so the moral of the story is, if you ever in the US, say yes and provide information. That's fine. I think it's going to ask you. No, it's not going to ask you here. And then, if you ever been issued a US visa? If it's yes, just give yes. It's going to ask you the date, visa numbers. It's going to help you, or help them overall track everything. And then in the interview, before interview, they will refer back to this if needed as well. So let's assume it's no for now. Just keep it simple for the vast majority of you. If you have been refused a US visa, it's true even if you went for an interview and they rejected you as well for whatever reason, it's going to be yes then as well. And it's going to ask you a few questions and then explain. In this explanation, maybe just say that you went for a US visa couple weeks back and then you were rejected. Just give a nice small brief explanation. It doesn't have to be 500 words. It shouldn't be 5 words. It should be at least 2 3 sentences, I guess, 10 15 20 words. So yeah, just want to see if it's there are reasoning of you getting rejected. The reason that they ask is because if you see the wording of this carefully, withdrawn your application admission from port of entry, refused admission, it means they send you back, which is problematic because you may be sent back for security reasons or reasons that is not so good. They just want to figure out if there are any red flags. So if there are no red flags, you shouldn't worry. Just say something. So yeah, all cool. Has anybody ever filed an immigration petition on behalf of the United States? So a lot of people have their citizenship or green card application waiting because say their relatives applied to it for them on behalf of them. Be truthful here. Say yes if it's yes if it's yes. Don't lie. And then maybe say maybe my uncle applied for me. I'm just writing something random. Maybe make it sound a bit nicer, maybe it more explanatory. But for now, it's going to be no for me. For me, it was no as well. So yeah, and then go forward. Address and phone number. This is my current home address, which means when I was staying in Bangladesh, when you were filling it up from your home country. So I'm going to input something random. House 33. Say road is 12. Gulshan, Dhaka. This is a random address in Dhaka, Bangladesh. I don't know if it exists. City is Dhaka. I probably shouldn't input Dhaka here. State, province, it does not apply to me. Again, if you put Dhaka in here, all cool, don't worry. My postal zip code, I think it applied to me. It's, I think, 1212. So yeah. Country / region, it's Bangladesh. So yeah, all cool. Is your mailing address the same as your home address? This is important because sometimes your home address may be different than your mailing address, the home you reside to. And this is much more important because in your passport, you may have permanent address, home address different as your mailing address. Maybe the mailing address that you have is the one where you live, and home address is in a very different place. For many people in Bangladesh, it's the village that they live in. I usually say that just input everything according to your passport. So if passport has home address, permanent address, which is, say, even if you're a village, do input that and then input your mailing address. Essentially follow everything to your passport just to be safe because that's the most official document that you have currently. And mailing address is basically where they will find you, where they can send their documents. Maybe you have an Amazon delivery where they'll send you, where they can find you. Maybe they can send letters. So that's what mailing address is. So for me, it was yes. So I'll say yes. If it was no, it's going to ask you for another address, your mailing address. Moral of the story is follow your passport. Here is the most official document that you have. Even if you give home address different than your passport, permanent address of your passport, it's not going to be a huge issue as well. So relax. And if your passport does not have permanent address, home address, all of this do not apply to you. Relax. Phone number, I'm going to input something random, right? So give your phone number. If you have a secondary phone number, a work phone number, does not apply to you. Just read this section. I think it's going to be self-explanatory. Maybe you used, maybe you don't. If it's yes, just give the phone numbers. For vast majority of you, it's going to be no. If yes, just give the additional phone numbers. Maybe add stuff. Essentially, give them the most accurate info as possible. Email address, I am going to give my email address, hello@samirrahman.com. If you have any questions, you can email me here, hello@samirrahman.com. Have you ever used any other email addresses in the last 5 years? I did. So I probably should input other email addresses here as well. So for example, saminr248@gmail.com. Right, this is one of my email address. So I probably shouldn't say this in public, but I did. Whatever. So yeah, so if it's no, then just say no. So all cool. Social media. Do you have any social media presence? This is a question that boggles a lot of people, and which makes sense. So you don't. So I'm going to keep it very diplomatic right here. This is what people do. People don't give away most or all of their social media right here because you don't need to. You don't need to give the details of. This is what they said. You don't need to give the details of a Twitter account that you made eons ago that you never use. However, the general modus operandi is that you probably should give all the social media that you have, and that's what they suggest you. So that's what you probably should do. It's up to you whether you should do this or what people do. So give social media platforms. There's a lot of options. I think there's an option for other as well if you want to include stuff that is not included here. So most of you will probably have Facebook. Click on Facebook and then give the social media identifier. Some people just literally give their name here. Some people give the link. I believe both are fine. Link is probably more accurate. So this is my social media handle. This is my Facebook handle. And then I want to say include YouTube. Where's YouTube? YouTube. I am going to input my handle here as well. youtube.com/Amin Rahman. Right. So just go forward and hit a subscribe and like. Thank you. Do you wish to provide information about your presence on other websites that you have used within financial? All right. So if it's any other link that you may have. So for me, it could be maybe something that's not included here. Let me see if I can find anything. Is Pinterest here? Pinterest is here. I don't know. Let's assume Tinder. Just something that popped into my mind. You probably wouldn't want to give Tinder here. Tinder is not a social media platform, but let's assume it's a social media platform. If you want to give other platforms like this, just give, I don't know, Tinder, and then just give the link. I don't think even Tinder has links to give. I don't think it does. So yeah, I never used Tinder. Actually, that's a lie. I did. Just for fun, and I deleted it in like 10 days. So yeah, it's fun. Use Tinder. Anyway, so this is what depends upon you. Depends on your individual wish. But as I said, what people do is they don't give everything because they don't need to give everything, and they wouldn't need to give Tinder as well, even if it was a social media handle. Anyway, so then we go into, I think, the more nitty-gritty details, I guess. Passport, travel document, it depends on you. I'm not sure what this is. Licensed passer. I'm honestly not sure. And it probably doesn't apply to you as well. Most of you is going to be regular. Official diplomatic, it's more for diplomatic individuals and all. It's probably going to be regular for you. And then just give your document number. I'm going to give something absolutely random because I don't want to reveal my passport number obviously to the public. Yeah. Passport book number. Okay, so let's read this. I'm not sure what this is. So a good learning curve. If you're confused, just see the help section. The passport book number is commonly called the inventory control number. You may... it doesn't. I'm fairly sure it doesn't apply to me. I never saw this passport book number, and even if I did, if I included this, I would have remembered. So for you, it's going to be no. If you're confused, if you be like, I don't believe this guy known as Samin, who's aged 20 and guiding me to fill DS-160, do two things. First, ask others and see if in your passport, is there any passport book number? And obviously, I'm only saying the perspective of Bangladeshi. If you're saying India and Pakistani or any other country, it's going to be maybe different for you. And at the same time, secondly and more importantly, even if you're a Bangladeshi, just ask others and maybe ask embassy. Hey, if we have a passport book number, maybe find their email, maybe call them. That's fine. No worries. Bangladesh. Oh wow, it was automatic. Anyway, where was the passport travel document issues? For me, I believe it was Dhaka, state, province, if shown on passport. I don't think it's shown, so it's going to be no. If it's shown and I said no, I'm very sorry, but I'll put that everything on the caption in the description. Issuance date. It's going to be shown on your passport. Let's say it's 17 April 2018. All right. Expiration it's usually 1 day before your passport is issued. So it's 16, say April, and some 2022. All right. So all cool. Have you ever lost a passport or had one stolen? I don't care, man. For now, I'll care later. So yeah, have you ever lost a passport or had one stolen? It may be the case. I almost lost my passport back in Thailand because I am someone who is very careless, and I almost left not thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars, a passport and most of everything on a bag in a random train. And then somehow a friend of mine, Siam, saw it at the last moment before the train went away and be like, hey, this is your is this your bag? So he saved my passport and a lot of money. So thank you, Siam. So maybe if you are dumb like me, then maybe you lost a passport or unfortunately had one stolen. If yes, then you will input their details here. But hopefully for the vast majority of you, it's going to be no. So it's no. Yes, nice. Next, go to the next section. US contact. So this is important. Let's read this for clarification's sake as well. Your US point of contact can be any individual in the US who knows you and can verify, if necessary, your identity. If you do not personally know anyone in the US, you may enter the name of the store, company, or organization that is planning to visit during your trip. If you're a student, the most likely you do not have relatives or other individuals that can be your point of contact. Even if you have anyone, what I'm going to say next may be applicable for you and you may give their information. So if you're a student who is going to the US for the first time, nobody knows you at all. What you will give is you will give information of your DS1's, sorry, of the person mentioned in your I-20, or just email your university and say, hey, I need to input the contact person, the person of contact in the US. What do I do? Right here we have signature of Helene Robertson, right? You can input their name here, Helene Robertson. I'm sorry, Robertson Helene, right? Organization name is for me, let's say it's UT Dallas. All right, relationship to you, it's going to be school official, right? And then it's going to ask you their address, phone name, everything. So you could input, say, UT Dallas ISSO office location, right? ISSO is basically International Student Service Organization. Most universities will have it. It essentially deals with everything related to I-20 and everything. So you may have their, hey, you will have their, maybe this is their address. What you should do is, however, just to be safe and just to be like keep it absolutely simple, email the ISSO, email university and say, hey, I need to input you as my point of contact. Can you please give me the address, phone number, and everything at all? So yeah, that's going to be the most safest modus operandi, and they'll give you and you'll include them here. So yeah, let's input anything random. All right, 800 W Campbell Road. I think it's UT Dallas. I think so. If not, I'm very sorry, UT Dallas. City is Richardson. State is Texas. Zip code is 75080. I'm not sure the phone number. I'll give something random. Email address, I don't know, ISSO at utdallas.edu. Obviously give stuff that is accurate here. Although it's very unlikely that this is going to be referred back into the future, but you obviously don't want to give misaccurate information. So yeah, anyway, phone number is invalid. Oh, UT Dallas Police Department phone number. They usually give the police department's phone number. I don't know why. So I'm going to input it here. Yeah, makes sense. If they give, oh, yeah, I told you. Parentheses don't work. You know what? I'll delete the dashes as well. I hate you guys. Cool. Family, relatives, and all. So my father's full name and everything. If you do not know your father's name, which could happen, then just give do not know here. That's fine. Mine is, I think, Rahman. I'm not sure what his passport name is, but yeah, Anisur Rahman. Date of birth, I genuinely forgot, even if I know I probably shouldn't give it here without consent. 10 March, let's say 1970. Right? Makes sense? So, is your father in the US? If it's yes, let's see what comes up. US citizen, non-immigrant, other, I don't know. All right, so let's see. You say US citizen. Okay, it's just for nothing pops up. So that's good. Anyway, so my father is not in the US. Maybe yours won't be as well. Give no. Akhtar, Shelina, date of birth. Let's give something absolutely random. December 1980, let's say. All right. Nope. This is important. Do you have any immediate relatives, not including parents, in the United States? And then read this. In what immediate relatives mean? It means fiance, which means someone you are engaged to and you're probably going to marry in the future. Your spouse, someone you have already married. Child, son or daughter of yours. Or your sibling, brothers or sisters. It does not include your aunt or uncle. It does not include your nephew. These are the only definition of immediate relatives. If it's yes, then it's going to ask you a bunch of questions, such as their name, relationship to you, what they are, stuff. If you have an aunt or uncle or a nephew or anyone in the US, it's going to be no here. However, it's going to ask you another question. Do you have any other relatives in the US? Maybe your aunt or uncle, maybe your nephew, niece, anyone. It's going to be yes. If it's a relative who is relatively distant to you, you probably should say yes here as well if you know them, if they're relative. So yeah, just give them yes here. And then we move forward to the next section. Work, primary occupation. This is important. This section is more important for students because there's a little bit of complicated stuff right around here. My primary occupation is it should be student. Wait, so yeah, so if you are not applying for a student, maybe you're from B1 visa or other visa, just give the most accurate one that applies to you. If you can't find anything, give other. So just give the other and then specify other. So I'm going to explain a few pitfalls and how it may apply to you. So let's say you are a student. Where's student? Student, right? You are a student. You'd want to give present employer student name. My student name when I applied was Maran Dhaka International College, right? So I'm not sure. Say Gulshan. I'll just give Gulshan Dhaka. Does not apply. Let's say does not apply. Random phone number, right? All cool. And then I want to give my start date as, I mean, it depends on to you. I started on 2005, I believe. So it doesn't have to be wholly accurate. Just give something to the best of your abilities. Maybe you won't remember it if you are if you joined a long time back like me. So I literally asked my mom, hey mom, can you give me an estimation when I joined? I knew it was 2005, but maybe an estimation of a date. She just stared at me blankly. And she just gave me an estimation. I probably gave 15 in the middle of the month and then probably July. So yeah. If I have any monthly income, if you're employed, if you're a student, it's probably going to be no, doesn't apply. So, and then just give, and then describe your I am a student. Done. That's literally it. I would have told you that there are a few pitfalls, but I think they updated the DS 160. Before, there used to be a problem where you had to give the end date. I'm sorry, I made you guys confused. But yeah, if you're a student right now, just input that. If, however, maybe you are currently not a student, maybe you are someone who's on a gap year for the past 1 year, you haven't been a student, you can give non-employed and then explain that, hey, I'm a student who was on a gap year. Or maybe you want to give other, right? Explain. In the employer school name, you give all the information that I just gave and then input everything as well. So beforehand, it used to be that there used to be a start date and an end date, and that confused a lot of people. But I'm glad that they changed it. For me, for now I'm going to give not employed and just going to chill. Hi. Yeah. Were you previously employed? So this is important. If you were a teacher unofficially, I mean, not contracted with a school, but say taught a random student as a teacher, what we call in Bangladesh tuition, you probably shouldn't say yes here because you weren't well officially employed. You hadn't had a real employer, right? It's different. Employing yourself to a company is wildly different than going and working for and earning a few bucks as a teacher to a student. So you should only give yes here if you have been employed, say, I don't know, part time or with a official formal document, the whole hiring process that goes forward here. So tread carefully. I know this depends on like individual cases. It may vary and all, but do note that, I mean, you don't have to say yes just because you earned $50 5 years back because you did something. So it isn't that nuanced. So you can chill. No worries. Have you attended any educational institution at a secondary level of above? Yes, it's going to be yes for vast majority of you. It's you studied um, at a high school, probably above a secondary level. If you attended multiple school, which is very likely the case for many NCTB students back in Bangladesh, maybe you studied one in grade 9 to 10, I don't know, grade 1 to 10, 1 and 11 to 12 in another. You will probably click add another here and then input the name and details of both of them. So for now, I'm going to input my Manara Dhaka International College, right? So address, I'm just inputting Gulshan here. Dhaka does not apply. Let's say does not apply. And then course of study. So let's read this. For middle school, junior high or high school course or study, please indicate academic or vocational. For all other educational levels, please indicate your major and concentration. So let's assume you are applying for say PhD or some other work visa, right? So you would include the details of your university here as well. So you'd probably add another and include the details of university. If when you're entering details of university, say you apply, so you say you studied at Oxford, right, and you studied mathematics, I would include the details of the major here, which is mathematics. This is my major or concentration, right? However, if you just are inputting details of high school, then it's going to be academic. It's not going to be vocational. Vocational is different. Vocational is more you learning work skills and just trying to get ready in the workforce. Examples of are, but are not limited to, say, plumbing or electrician here in the US. Those are known as vocational studies. So yeah, date of attendance, I don't know, let's say 15 June 2005, and date of attendance 2. This is important. Some people get confused that should I give the date I last studied in that college? I had the last class. Should I give the date I gave the last exam? Or should I give the date I graduated officially and got my results? Or I attended the graduation ceremony? My answer is different people will have different answers, different opinions, and different ways of filling this up. Just give one which makes the most sense to you. For me, the one that what makes most sense to me, I forgot. Just give the one that makes the most sense to you. The most accurate date does not really matter. I think I gave the one I gave the last exam. I did not wait for the. I did not give the one where it was last. Yeah, just it's fine. Just give. Maybe I had my last exam 15 June 2020. Right? So all cool. It doesn't have to be wholly accurate. It's fine. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and literally give the one which makes the most sense to you. So yeah, all cool. Do you belong in a clan or tribe? Most likely going to be no. If it's yes, say yes and clan or tribe name. So yeah. Provide a list of languages you speak. I speak Bengali. I also speak English, as you can say. I can speak not very well, but थोड़ा थोड़ा आता है Hindi, and also to a large extent Urdu. I unfortunately cannot speak any other language. I'll hopefully will be able to add French here soon, Spanish here soon, but I'm feeling fancy lots, so let's add. Let's assume I know them. Yes, let's assume I know them. Have you traveled to any other countries within the last 5 years? Do note this is for the last 5 years. If you traveled to Antarctica in 2005, for the purposes of these questions, they don't care. So if you say yes, and then you'll have to provide a list of countries that you visited. For me, it was Thailand. Nepal wasn't in 5 years. It was India. So I think I visited these two countries when I applied, and those were in between the 5 year mark. So yeah, have you be charitable organization? This is a very important question as well. So, as with all previous questions, as I said, err on the side of being official. So, you may have charity organization, or you may be part of school organization that are charities. The reason that they ask this is so before we even delve into this question, how you answer it, let's think about why they ask us in the first place. This type of organizations, they want to know if there are any ill intent or if there are any problems and stuff attached to them, so that they can verify and check if you were involved in them, and if there are any red flags. Now, and like, you would understand they're trying to ask something of that sort if you go to the next question, which is, did you receive any specialized training, explosive, and all. So, because charity organizations tend to be linked on that sector sometimes. So maybe you were part of a legit organization that is charitable organization, maybe, I don't know, some big NGO. Just give them yes and then include their details here. However, but the reason I'm going through such a huge contest is because if you were part of a not so official organization and did some work, that you did work for an hour 5 years back, you probably do not need to input the details here. So yeah, but maybe input, we use your own discretion because it depends on a case by case basis, and input your details here. So do remember that by here, professional, social, or charitable organizations are actually official big organizations that they mean. Those small organizations that you and I probably do not make them radar. But again, depends on individual cases. But yeah, glad to know. It's probably going to be no here. If yes, then yeah, it's probably going to have to answer and explain why you, I mean, where you got that from, why you did that, how do you know, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. Probably going to be no. If you start served in the military, maybe you're from South Korea, you had mandatory, I forgot the word, conscription maybe, had to go to military mandatorily. It's probably going to be yes for you, maybe yes for you. For vast majority of you, it's going to be no. If yes, it's going to ask you a few questions. And then I am fairly sure it's going to be no for all of you. If yes, then I would worry about your application. Yeah. So this is the most fun part that you'll ever have. I am literally going to not read any of this and say no, because when I applied, I read all of these questions at least 5 times to see, okay, if there is there any chance that I have to say yes in any of them. It's going to be no. If you answer yes in any of them, you probably may have an issue getting a visa. It's not like that this will be a downright rejection. You'll probably not get a downright rejection. But the thing is that obviously American visa officers will obviously err on the side of caution. They don't, if they get any smell of you doing any wrongdoing, or smell that you will probably do any wrongdoing or anything at all, then they're going to have their brows up and then going to investigate you, grill you with questions and all, and may just to stay on the safe side, reject you. But I don't think, like, virtually, I don't think it's going to be an immediate no. And some questions are probably not that incriminatory as others. For example, have you ever been removed or deported from any other country? This could be yes. Say you have been deported from, say, India. It's bad. It looks very bad on your application, but it's still not as bad as answering yes to I was part of a guerrilla organization, which is very concerning. So yeah. Anyway, it's probably going to be no for most of you, and we are not going to delve deep into what will happen if we say yes. Yeah, additional point of contact information. Wait. Yes, so read this section. List at least 2 contacts in your country of residence who can verify the information that you have provided in this application. The keyword is in your country of residence, where you live. It doesn't have to, it won't be someone in the US. It's not going to be your DSO. It's not going to be any official from university. It's going to be an additional point of contact. Somewhere around here, Yeah, so do not list immediate family members or other relatives. So you shouldn't include your fiance. What's that word? That definition that we saw earlier, it includes your fiance, parents. Don't include their name or other relatives. It can't be your relatives. So this includes your niece, nephew, anyone. So what do you include? Most people, what they do is what I did as well. I include the name of my teachers from my high school. So I include their name, and then let's input something random. Surname is going to be Alom. Given name is going to be Nabila. All right. Address. I don't know. Uttara. Okay. Dhaka. Let's assume it does not apply. Does not apply. Yes. Country. Let's say it doesn't apply. Does not apply. All right. And then another could be don't know. Let's say it's my roommate, Ahmed. Obviously if you give someone's name, it can be a family friend or anyone. I had once a question that if we could include details of a literal friend. If you think about it carefully, you probably can include their name, but I mean, if it's my friend, then they're probably aged around 19 to 20. I mean, it probably wouldn't be looked. I mean, if the officials actually go ahead and want to check my and verify my identity, which in the vast majority of the cases they don't do. If they do indeed go forward and want to do that, they probably wouldn't appreciate if they see another 19-year-old verifying my information, which is my friend. If your friend is older, like say 30, then it probably may make sense. But yeah, virtually it's probably okay if you I don't know, Uttara again. So yeah, Dhaka does not apply. I'll give does not apply to everywhere just for the sake of clarity. Obviously you know what you need to apply here. So yeah, do note that you probably should give the contacts from your country of residence where you live. All right, country of residence. Oh yeah, so finally we are at the information where you would think that yeah, so this is only for students. If you are going there on an F1 visa, this is probably only for you. This section, if you're applying for B1 or B2 visa, this section is not going to pop up for you. So this is the I-20, and we have the SEVIS ID right around here. Let's see if I can copy this. Just copy paste this here. That's it. This is the SEVIS ID. Check this like 5 times, million times, and this goes for the overall application. Just check a million times before you submit. Now, if you do submit and then you use it on your appointment scheduling, which we'll see later, it's still going to be fine because I mean you can edit you can fill up a new DS160 and then input the details there, but still just check a million times, see if there are any mistakes, and then submit it. There's no rush in filling this. Additional details, you have all the details right around here. Should be somewhere around here. Yeah, it will be here. School name, and also University of Texas at Dallas. University spelling is mistake. I don't care. For high school course of study, please indicate academic or vocational. For all other educational levels, please indicate your major or concentration. I am going there for university, and I would know my major. If you don't, check your I-20 and you will have this right around here. It's written here, history and philosophy of science and technology. Okay, so it's going to be history and philosophy of science and technology. Yes, if you want, you can include this number here. I don't think you need to, and you probably shouldn't. Street address 800 W Campbell Road, done. Yeah, Richardson, Texas 75080. Right, all cool. You will have details, all the deets right around here. So yeah, all cool. And then I click on next photo. We are at the end. Eyeglasses will know. Okay, I don't care. Essentially, there's a photo quality standard guidance that you may need to follow. So there are photo requirements such as it needs to be a white background, I believe. Headphones, no headphones, full face, and it should be taken in the last 6 months so that you actually look you are you. It isn't the class 5 view that we will upload basically. So yeah, look at all of these, and then sorry, oops. whatever. Look at all of this and then upload your photo or digital image. The best modus operandi is there are some studios, at least in Bangladesh, who are expert at clicking these pictures and then they know what works and what not, because they are way more knowledgeable than you or I will ever be, because they have been dealing with this photo thing for the foreseeable since, like, I don't know, forever. So yeah, just go to them. They will give you the PNG file, JPG file. You will upload it here, and then you'll also need to take print that photo and then take it to the interview. So yeah, let's see. I need to picture image. I need to upload something. Okay, I'll be back. Hi, I couldn't find my picture, but I found this fairly beautiful women online. Women. So let's see if hers work. Yes, and they have an automatically photo quality standard. It's a pretty nice AI, and they will, I think, identify if there are, say, if you have classes and all. So if you pass the photo quality standard, it's cool. You are good. However, sometimes even then the embassy may email you and say, hey, your photo is not okay. Please capture a new one, and then send it to us, and then bring it to your interview. Don't freak out, and then just let's capture a better picture. It's fine. So this is the photo provided. I'm going to go forward and review. So this is this section, and then just review it to the best of your ability. If you click on the print, it's going to give you a PDF style. So, and then you can print it, have it beside your bed, read it before you sleep, check it 100 times. You are fine. Don't check it yourself. Tell your parents to check it. Tell your friends to check it. People you trust. See if there should be any yes here, and then keep on going and going, and then click on sign, submit. Did anyone assist you in filling out this application? It could be, then just give them the details. However, it should be no if it's only one, if it's only you who have been filling up this application. Usually it's yes, at least in the US, when say you are old enough and do not understand all this, maybe you're not proficient in English, maybe you are disabled. So yeah, enter your passport document number. I'm not sure what I included. Enter the code as shown 6YC9U. I'll then sign and submit. All cool. All right, so the document number does not match. If it matches, then I'll sign and submit. It's going to show me a DS160 confirmation number. You know what? Wait. I'll see what passport number I inputted. Yes, I found my passport number. It is this. Oh, yeah, wait. BHME. All right, sign and submit application. I have successfully submitted my application. I click on confirmation. Now I have this confirmation number. This is important. You will need this in further steps. You will need this a lot of places. You will print the confirmation page. This is important. You will need this page during your interview, and you can email the confirmation to your email address as well if you need email address, and then whatever. Do note that once I have signed and submitted, I cannot edit this anymore. If you need to edit any information here, just ditch this application, open a new one, fill it up again. It's overwhelming, it's sad, but that's the only modus operandi that you can go forward to. So yeah, it's going to give you an idea of what you probably should bring during the interview, but I'll give another video. I'll give you guidance of what documents you should take during the interview. Anyway, so this is it. This confirmation number is going to be important. Remember, you will take this confirmation page during your interview and not the whole application. So yeah, not this whole thing. You do not need to take all of this. You can keep this for your reference. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Thumbs if you liked it, obviously subs if you loved it, and then consider, I don't know, doing anything you can to help me. this was nice. This was educating for myself and everything. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you in my next videos. Do watch my other videos of my overall F1 visa overview, which you'll find in the description below, or you can also go forward and see my interview tips and tricks, what documents you should bring, my mock interview videos. Those should help you immensely as well. If this was helpful to you, I'm grateful, right? So see you, and just fill up the DS 160 the most accurate way as possible. See you.